Thanks, and welcome everybody. I'll call this meeting to order, and it's nice to see everybody out in a nice snowy night. We don't have to actually drive, which is kind of different. So see everybody out here. So I'll call the meeting to order. Disclosure any pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. Deputy Mayor Turton.
Yes, I would like to disclose pecuniary interest, item 8B1, part lot control exemption, and then item 11A, bylaw 2020-78.
Thank you, David. Okay, and minutes of previous meeting. Moved by Deputy Mayor Turton, second by Councillor McKenzie. The regular council minutes of November 3rd. That the minutes of November 3rd, 2020 Town of Minto Council be approved. Any comments? All in favor? Anybody opposed? Carried. Additional items. Anybody got additional items? Oh, no? Okay. I might have one. I'll just. Okay. There's no public meetings and no delegations tonight. We've got correspondence received for information or requiring direction of council. Does anybody want to pull any of the correspondence? There's some nice letters from our MPP, which is kind of neat to see that a few of those are happening, that we're getting some money. Deputy Mayor Turton.
I just wonder, Mayor Bridge, thank you, the Robert Gibson Consulting Service. We really don't have any choice whether we agree or disagree in reference to the the tonnage in the aggregate resources.
I don't believe so. I can ask Derek or somebody to respond, but I think the thought process there is they have to notify us, but yep. I think they have to go through the proper procedures as to how they get that out. But am I right on that, Derek?
Yeah, it's through you, Mr. Mayor, to Deputy Mayor Turton. That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
No, I don't know whether I've ever seen anything like that before.
No, it's different, eh?
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen it in all my time so far. Other than when, we have a brand new pit or something you got to work on and all that stuff, but that's different. Okay. And again, I just say thank you to for the oomph and for the other funding from the government, and we're waiting for the OSIF. Be nice to see that come down the pike so we know where we're at. Deputy Mayor Turton.
Yeah, so do we ever send a thank you to Randy for all his hard work? I know we all, whenever we see him, we thank him.
Yeah.
If we ever, we all send him a Christmas card, but
yeah,
do we ever send him a thank you for his hard work?
Sometimes if I want to get a note from the ministers, I usually send something, but we could send something to Randy for sure. Derek.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor. When we get the emails directly to us, Deputy Mayor Turton, I always send a thank you back.
Yeah.
But if you'd like something official, you could ask for that from council, and we could send a thank you letter.
Yeah, I would like to ask something official.
Sure, that'd be great.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you need a motion?
You need a motion for that? So yep. We're moved by Deputy Mayor Turton, seconded by Councillor Dirksen. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Yep, doesn't hurt to show our appreciation when we do get good stuff. Thank you, Derek.
Great.
Okay, so I have a motion by Councillor Dirksen, second by Councillor Gudson, that Council of Town of Minto receives a correspondence for information. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Reports committees. I'll just turn this over to Councillor Elliott to assume the chair here.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. And the easy part of my job is to refer this over to Matt.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor Elliott. The Prac minutes before you are from last month. We met on the 27th. We were fortunate enough to have Zach Leslie from the Hairston Kinsman present, and we discussed ideas on future capital projects in and around Hairston that the Kinsman would be interested in helping with financially. This goes along well with the planned resumption of the master plan process in 2021. We also noted that we're taking private bookings at the Norgan, including weekend evenings for the time being, until feature films resume, and we're hoping that's early 2021, but again, we'll see. We're also taking bookings at the arenas. The grade 11s are now using the ice for the high school hockey program as Quadmester 2 just started. We're also running a walking program and pickleball on the Hairston Curling Club floor, as well as in Clifford at the arena and hall. To wrap up, on page 2, we have Mike Hurst expressing interest in joining the committee as the Palmerston rep, and he'd be replacing Bob McEachern as his term is up at the end of this year. And that's
it.
yep, that's it.
I have moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Councillor, no, isn't, sorry. Moved by Councillor Dirksen and second by Councillor Gunson. That town received the, okay. Councillor Elliott to state and move second evolution of the resolution, moved by Councillor Anderson and second by myself.
Sorry, we will change that to Councillor Dirksen.
Yeah.
And I think Councillor Dirksen.
That's where I was having trouble.
Yes.
I thought,
Okay.
I don't second this. Okay, moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Councillor Dirksen, if she agrees, that we receive the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee minutes of October 27th, 2020. And that Council of the Town of Minto receives the Parks and Recreation minutes of October 27th, 2020, approves any recommendation contained therein. There we go. Finally got it straight. Any questions? Councillor Dirksen.
Yeah, I just had a question, Councillor Elliott. Is the Prac committee meeting in person? Or is this a Zoom?
We have been meeting in person, but we're now going to move to Zoom, I would assume. Maybe the next meeting, we're going to try and meet in person again. But we've got a small group that we can social, and we meet like at the Palmerston Arena inside there, and there's cannabis, and we're well aware, and we all have masks, so.
Yeah, Councillor Elliott's correct. We've still been meeting in person, but that said, the committee is comprised of 10 members. We don't typically ever get any members of the public present, so we've got tight protocols in place for how we run our meetings. But we are looking at online just with how things are trending, especially within the last week or two. Yeah,
I would probably suggest that.
mm-hmm.
We're not meeting anywhere else in person, so. I mean, my thought, but
yep.
I think we put ourselves, Mayor, we put ourselves in a pretty good position that we're really far away, and we're definitely in mass, and I don't think we've been breaking any protocol by doing what we're doing. And it seems we have a much better meeting when we do meet in person. When we meet in Zoom, it seems our Prac committee is pretty tight-lipped. We don't have a lot to say, but when we're in person, we have a lot better conversation and get a lot more accomplished, we believe. It's probably for the betterment of the community, but we certainly will look to the future for Zoom.
Deputy Mayor Turton wants to.
Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Elliott. Mr. McEachern is retiring. Did he take 4 or 5 terms?
He was with us for 2 terms, 8 years.
2 terms?
Yeah, he did 2. Yeah.
I think we get confused because he was on the Oregon board for a lot of years, and over at the train station for a lot of years. So Bob seems to be around council for a lot of times. So
he'll likely stay on the train committee.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah. With COVID, it's been a little difficult for Bob. I know he watches it. I think we've only had. He did come out to. We had in the summer there. We had one meeting that I think David that he did come out to, but we'll be Zoom them from now on. But yeah, he's a great asset to that. But I know this summer he wasn't around with the students very much because of his concern. I'm sure for his health, which
I believe he had knee surgery too. So
yeah.
I think he was kind of afraid of that he was going to deal with that too. So I haven't talked to Bob in a couple months, so I haven't seen him or heard from him. So.
Just I have a comment, Councillor Elliott, just on the fact that it's kind of nice to see that the Kinsman Club we had a discussion well over a year ago because we were starting the master plan, and I remember they were eager to do something at that point in time. And I think they did a few little things, but they were working away, and to see that, I think there were some investments they were going to put away to see what was coming up. So it's nice that they took an interest to come back and talk to you again. And, you know, you've got a pretty good group in your camp there when you do have an opportunity to come up with some plans after the master plan starts again up, and you've got a good ally in the Kinsman Club. It's nice to see they're still active in it.
I did mention to Zach and his area, I said, you were probably looking to do something in Harrison. He said, not necessarily. They think about the town of Minto, and I believe their club might be moving to even renaming them the Minto Kinsman. Is that correct, Matt? Is that?
It was something Zach said may be a possibility, but it sounds like it was more of a think Minto as opposed to think Harrison.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay, all in favor of that motion? Carry.
Awesome.
And
Thank you.
I'll pass it back to Mayor Bridge. Eventually.
There we go. Thanks, Ron. Economic development. Linda, there you are.
Here I am. Good evening, Mayor Bridge, members of council. I'd like to start off, before I start my minutes, of recognizing our amazing Economic Development Committee. We are so blessed to have a great representation across sectors on this group, and their input and feedback has been so valuable through this process of going through COVID. And I just wanted to give a shout out to our committee because I greatly appreciate their feedback. So I do have several things that I want to point out of these minutes. It was a pretty important meeting. So first off, thanks to CBO Terry Kuipers for providing some positive news in what's looking like a negative time that we're heading into here. So as you can see, there is a lot of good things happening in Minto in terms of development that we should be quite proud of in our community. Following that, as everyone is well aware, the cases in Wellington County, the mayor brought this bad news to us at our meeting that the cases in Wellington County continue to rise for COVID. And John Mock, the president of the Chamber of Commerce, joined us for this meeting as he had some concerns from the business community. And this resulted in a recommendation coming from our committee. And I don't think it's any surprise that people have been asking for this all along. But they're really wanting to hear where in Wellington County the cases are happening. There seems to be an assumption that most of the cases are in the south end of the county. Even though people are saying cases are rising in Wellington County, they still think it's at the south end. And they think it would be beneficial to say there are X number of cases in Minto, X number of cases in Wellington North, just so people do realize that it is in our community and they can't let their guard down. They need to take this very seriously and follow what's happening, because it's happening here. So we do have a recommendation noted in the minutes there. On a kind of along the same notes, we have started this week across Wellington County doing business retention expansion surveys again. So we've partnered with the Chamber of Commerce here in Minto, and Summer and I have started today reaching out to our businesses. The goal is to reach 50 via phone or Zoom surveys. We're setting that up right now. But as you know, in Minto, we don't like to settle for the basic request. So we're definitely going to shoot for as many as we can over the month. The feedback so far has been really positive from the businesses and wanting to talk to us. And that's, I think, because we've built solid relationships over many years. We had some really great updates there, as you can see from our different members. I want to point out that the Saugeen Economic Development is in charge of the Regional Relief and Recovery Fund again. So that is being soft launched tomorrow. We will make sure all of our businesses are aware of that, as well as some other funding that was announced earlier today by the province of Ontario. Also encouraging people to visit Think Minto First, our online portal. So we started that when COVID first hit. Now more than ever, it is super crucial to be supporting our businesses as we go into Christmas, and it's a critical time for them. There's over 45 listed on the Think Minto First right now, and Taylor and Summer have done a really great job of curating some local holiday gift boxes as well, which are really great gift ideas. So those are on there, as well as some Clifford Connect sweatshirts that people can purchase. Lastly, I want to mention Ashley Noble, our digital service squad, is doing an awesome job getting out in our 3 communities, promoting the Digital Main Street program and making sure the businesses can get online that want to sell online and promote themselves that way. And currently there's 23 businesses in Minto that are applying for the second round of funding. So I guess the last thing that I want to say is we did have some recommendations in there for a facade improvement for New Orleans Pizza, as well as a signage improvement at the Royal Canadian Legion. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to take those.
Questions, Ron? Do you want me? I'll do the motion first, and then we'll ask for questions. Okay. Moved by Councillor McKenzie, second by Councillor Turton. The Council of the Town of Minto receives the Economic Development Planning Committee minutes of November 12th, 2020, and approves any recommendations contained within. Okay. Now questions. Go ahead, Ron.
I think there.
Yeah.
I'm back in.
There you go.
The question is, I see downtown there's a new sign above the Palmer. It says Palmer Bar and Cafe. So that took me by surprise. I didn't know that. Is that a business starting up, I assume?
Yeah, so pre-COVID, Vinco had reached out to CBO Kuipers about doing some work in there, yes, to create a bistro or coffee house bar.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I do not know when it is going to be opening though, but I noticed the sign as well, Councillor Elliott.
I noticed when I drove by, the sign took me by surprise, and then the paper's all off the windows, so I just assumed that they were moving along pretty soon to do that. Another question I have, right beside the Coffee Cafe and between the Bombay Bar, they're all papered in. It looks like they're doing some work in there. Do you know anything that's coming out of that place?
Again, pre-COVID, they did have plans on using that space for the 2 businesses. I think it's just on hold right now, as our whole restaurant, all of our restaurant businesses are struggling through COVID right now. So I don't think anything is likely happening at this time, but they did have plans pre-COVID.
Okay, thanks.
And while you're talking about Palmerston, I will mention we do have a new business opening, and there's a grand opening happening not this Saturday, but next Saturday at Rock and Dukes. It's a pet supply store downtown. So that's 10 o'clock on, I think, November 28th.
And on that, Belinda, there's also out where the lavender farm was, that's opening up, soft opening on Saturday and Sunday. They're a business from
Prince Edward County,
and they do reconstruction of wine barrels and different things and furniture and stuff. So I'm kind of looking forward. I've been watching that being developed, and it looks like a unique little spot. So
it is, absolutely. Pete and Marla have the barrel house, and they, like you said, they moved from Prince Edward County, and they make barrels for beer, whiskey, wine. They even have some food products that they're going to be doing, home decor stuff that they make from the materials. It's a really unique business, and they are wonderful people. So check it out this weekend.
Things keep happening even through the crises that we're in. And Belinda, your talk at the beginning about your committee, it is an amazing committee, and it's one of the best economic development committees out there, because we have all the sectors represented, and we have some good players in that really bring the grassroots stuff to our committee, so that we know what's going on in the business. We don't have to guess. So, and the BRE, I'm excited about that. I think that's our next step, to make sure that we get that BRE, so that when we get into this recovery mode, which I'm hopeful will be sooner than later, that we'll have some good ammunition for the government to say, here's some things we could really help our businesses out with. So it's trying times. Buy local if you can, purchase some cards or whatever, but a very important process. And I can't say much about it, but one of the meetings I kind of had a double up on today, and then afterwards I found out, so there might be some money set aside at the county for the BRE program. So we're kind of looking forward to that in the budget stuff. So anyways, good news. Anything else? Anybody else says anything? Okay, all in favor of the report? Opposed? None. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's see. Do I have to turn this over? No, not yet. Do I? No. staff reports. Planning technician is Ashley with us. There she is. Hi, Ashley. How are you getting
Hi.
along? Yeah,
Pardon?
it's how are you getting along? It's tough when nobody can really see you other than on the Zoom calls now. You don't get
I know I'm
many-
kind of meeting everyone in bits and pieces,
Yeah,
but
well, I'm sure all the councillors would love to meet you in person if they can someday. So welcome aboard, and maybe have you do your report now. Oh, sorry, Annalene, did I miss one?
For you, Mayor Bridge, I could just ask that Deputy Mayor Turton to shut his video down.
Oh, right.
just
Yeah,
for
sorry. This is
portion.
when you're on this one, Dave. Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
That's how we kick him out of the room. All right, good. There he goes.
all right. So I am bringing forward to council and Mayor Bridge a part lot control application that has been brought forward by Dave Turton and his wife Pam, as well as Jackie and Donald McPhail. So the subject property for the part lot control exemption is located at 31 and 33 George Street North here in Hairston. And right now there is a semi-detached residential dwelling unit on it. So this subject property was previously rezoned in 2016 from an R1C low density residential with a flood fringe overlay to an R2 zone for medium density residential. So this was to generally just permit the construction of a semi-detached dwelling unit. So now the owners are seeking a part lot control so that each set of family has separate and distinct ownership over their half of the semi-detached. So typically this is something that you would see is done by a developer before they sell a property so they can sell the semis on their own. However, in this case, it's kind of unique because it is a family. So they just haven't got it done right away, essentially. So the proposed lot configurations, simply put, is to be down the center of the lot. And this would allow for all required frontage and property line setbacks to be met. So the recommendation is that the council receives a report regarding the part lot control exemption application for the owners David and Pamela Turton and Donald and Jackie McPhail, and considers passing a bylaw in open session.
I'll read the recommendation moved by Councillor Gudson, seconded by Councillor Dirksen, that the Council of the Town of Minto receives a report from the Planning Technician Administrative Assistant dated November 6, 2020 regarding part lot control exemption application for David Turton or owners David and Pamela Turton and Don and Jackie McPhail, and consider passing the bylaw in open session. Any questions on this? It's sort of a housekeeping item, so no questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is, I'll turn it over to Council Dirksen, I think. Am I right there, Annalene? Am I on the right path here?
That's correct, Mayor Bridge.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, thank you, Mayor Bridge. And we have 2 items on the agenda tonight for Public Works, and I'm going to call on Roads and Drainage Manager Mike McIsaac to talk about the first one.
Thank you, Councillor Dirksen. The first item up tonight is our annual contract with Wellington County to maintain Wellington County Roads 2 and 3 for the winter season. Compensation they're providing this year is the same as last year at the $9,000 per kilometer. And staff is, we're confident with that dollar value, as they have been fairly generous in the past, as well as if there is any overages throughout the season, they're more than willing to accommodate any overages that way. Is there any questions with this item?
Okay, pretty simple. It's something we do every year. So it's moved by Councillor Elliott and seconded by Councillor Anderson that the Council of the Town of Minto receives a report from the Road and Drainage Manager regarding the winter maintenance contract for County Roads 2 and 3, and the Council accepts a compensation of $9,000 per kilometer for the 2020 and 2021 winter season from the County of Wellington. Last chance for questions. Councillor Elliott.
Yeah, just a thought I've had for a while, Councillor Dirksen, and is, did you meet with the public works staff like we do our other committees? And if so, is there minutes that we could share with council that would help maybe be a little more, instead of just coming in with with different things that we deal with? I don't know whether you do that or not.
So the answer to the first half of the question, and Mike can jump in here too, but so I believe they meet every week, and I do not meet with them every week. No, I meet with them every maybe 6-ish.
I didn't like probably every month, something like
But
that.
and then during, March to, I don't know, maybe it was March to August or so before so I didn't meet with them when things were closed up. And then there are, I would call them meeting notes. I wouldn't call them minutes. Would that be accurate, Mike?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. They're just ongoing items of like operational items that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. They're not necessarily minutes per se.
Well, it's the largest budget item, and it would be nice just to have, like we do minutes on all the other meetings and such like, and I know we have committees for those, and you're on your own for that. Maybe we can get a copy of those notes or something to just keep us up to date with what's happening. Just a suggestion.
Sure, Derek? CEO Derek?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. Councillor Dirkson's correct that those meetings are operational meetings, that we meet and discuss ongoing operational issues, both from a development, wastewater, and maintenance and operation. We'd be happy to share those notes. However, there is from time to time confidentiality items on there that I'd have to meet with the clerk, quite honestly, Councillor Elliott, and figure out what it is we would be wanting to look at, because they are operational in nature, and typically we don't publish our operational notes typically. However, that doesn't mean that there could be some version of that we could present like other committees. But I think if you could allow myself and Councillor Dirksen and Mike maybe to get together, and with the help of the clerk, we can try to figure out what it is we would want to present to council as a whole. Would that be acceptable, Councillor Elliott?
Absolutely, and the reason I am asking that is because quite often I'm asked that probably one of the biggest questions is, two of them are recreation and public works, and it'd be good to have some information. Now, I have no problem. I can phone and ask those questions and give it back, but sometimes I might have the pre-answer before that kind of thing.
And
yeah,
if I could speak
like
to that,
like shifts for snow and how we're doing that kind of stuff, and not do or whatever. Yeah, but I agree with you that sure, I'd be fine with that. Come up with some sort of, so we have an idea what's going on.
Okay, Mayor Bridge.
Yeah, and just on that, Ron, and from time to time I'll drop in and just when one of those is on. What they do for notes, to be honest with you, is there's projects ongoing all the time. Mm-hmm. And Jackie has notes, and she'll ask Mike or whoever's working on that project for last week. And Judy, you've probably seen this too. Then they'll say, well, okay, well, we're waiting for a report back, or we're waiting for something there. That's really operational. But if there is a need to see bigger pieces, like when we're buying trucks or we're doing things like this, those reports come to council. But I'll look at with Derek and see what. I mean, I don't want to make a lot of work for the staff just for the sake that it'd be something. I really like the idea, if there's a concern you might have, Councillor Elliott, that you call Derek or call Judy and say, you know, what about maintenance on the plows or whatever, something like that, rather than create something that we have to see all the time. Like I don't know how the benefit will be from it. That's all.
The benefit would be we know what's going on instead of having to call every time.
I don't think you'll get that from the notes, because the notes aren't going to give you that. Like, it's a day-to-day operational stuff. It'll say, well, they're working on that truck over there. I don't know. I want to know that on a day-to-day operational, but we'll look into it and we'll see what we can come up with. But it's a little different situation there.
When we had committees, monthly we would have a report from that committee. So to me,
we've never had them in all the years that we've been since I've been mayor. I don't think we've had them like that. So
didn't always agree with that anyway, but
well, our staff are really stretched right now. I don't want to create any more notes for them to do. If there's really an issue, let me know about it. But I really don't want to. I want to push back a little bit on this, because I know Judy's in touch with them.
I'd like to push ahead with it, because I disagree. I think the notes should be kept. It's just a matter of passing them on. It's no different than keeping passing them on. I don't. There's no stress.
Well, again. Now, so if that's the case, and CEO has said that we got a situation here where we might have to go through those notes to make sure that we're not creating any possibility of anything that shouldn't get out there. If we're
We do
working on
that-
certain
We
things.
do that in our recreation meetings, and I'm sure any other. meetings.
I'll leave it up to the CAO to work with the.
Yeah, I think you had a great idea. How
But
you do.
I don't want to create more work for the staff at this point in time if it's not
Okay,
needed.
I'm gonna close this down here. I'm doing a rotten job at sharing. So, but I think we had a solution back there. The CAO and Mike and myself perhaps will meet and see if we can pull something together. I don't think you'd find the meeting notes all that helpful. They're color coded and it's very ongoing, very operational. So anyways,
I used to find it very interesting and informative, but I don't see, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't.
we will work but we will take it under advisement. We'll work something out, okay?
Okay, thank you.
I have read the recommendation. And is there any other questions pertaining to the recommendation? Okay, all in favor? And thank you, that carries. Okay, and then we have a second item on the agenda. This one has been quite a package of work here by our roads and drainage manager. And it does actually drift into operations, I believe. But anyways, I'll turn it over to Mike to take us through that. And I believe Annalene said she's going to share the screen, or sorry, maybe that was Matt said that the screen was going to be shared for part of that.
Yeah,
okay,
that's
so
correct.
just be aware that that's going to happen.
Okay, thank you once again. So basically, the reason for this report is minor adjustments to the previous winter maintenance policies, and to also include the opportunity to declare a significant weather event. So along with that, I just thought I'd provide a little bit of clarification as to how some of the minimum maintenance standards does work, and as it's based on traffic volumes and snow accumulations or ice accumulations on the road. So for an example, Highway 9 and County Roads 109 would be considered a Class 2 road by the minimum maintenance standards, as well as like the connecting links throughout the town. The same road is also considered to be a Class 4 road. And then a lot of the other county roads and highways out in the township then drop down to Class 3 and Class 4 roads. However, they're all maintained at the higher standard by those entities. Okay, and then we'll just move on to a map of the township to kind of go through the color coding. So on this on the township map here, you can see all the red roads there are primarily county roads and the highways throughout. As well as the county roads 2 and 3, which we do maintain at that higher level of service. And then the blue roads out there are primarily the hardtop surface roads in the township, and then the green are the gravel, as well as the subdivisions. They're also considered to be a lower class of road for maintenance purposes. And then as you go through, I believe Clifford's up next. Clifford, you can see there's only Class 2 road being the County Road 2, as well as the connecting link going through town. And then the rest of the roads are all like a Class 4 road. Harriston's basically the same, just with the response times throughout the urban centers. Everything's like we do have the priority roads that we try to get done the business sections early, but they're all done simultaneously throughout. And then Palmerston's the same with the school routes, and then even out towards the hospital area. Okay, and then the next 3 maps are all showing, these are the sidewalk routes, which are the primary sidewalk routes based on the previous policy. But however, in speaking to the sidewalks, all sidewalks that are physically possible to be maintained will be maintained by our operations within a 24-hour period primarily. Okay, so those are some of the highlights to the policy itself. And then to move forward to the significant weather event declaration, the idea to add this to the policy actually provides a safer deployment of the staff during these times, an enhancement of public engagement through messaging platforms, and then hopefully help the need to to reduce unnecessary travel for the general public. And then road closures, they should be primarily used for emergency services during an accident, really, instead of deploying those resources to for a weather event sort of thing. And then lastly, if it comes down to it, it does provide the town with an avenue for defense during litigation. Is there any questions with this report? And/or policies?
Okay, thanks for the great effort to put this together, Mike. It's a pretty complete document, that's for sure. I know some of it was built on the other, but the significant weather part of it is new for us, right?
It is. It provides us an extra layer there if required. And even today, I was looking at the weather with the way things were going. We only got to, like, by Environment Canada, it was only ever just a watch, so there was never a need for anything like that. But it is kind of nice to have that opportunity, just to provide that extra layer there for staff and our resources.
Well, there's nothing quite as unpredictable as the weather, right? Question, Deputy Mayor Turton.
Thank you, Chair Dirksen. Mike, is this a standard or is this something that just for Minto?
No, it's something that is within the minimum maintenance standards.
Yeah.
Municipalities are just starting to use this and adopt this as part of their policies. Senator Wellington has adopted it last fall. Chatsworth, that area up there, and there's a few others in the general area that have previously used it and have adopted it.
So when you go by this significant weather policy,
yep,
you're covering your butt.
Yes. Yeah.
Thanks.
You read it well. Mayor Bridge.
Yeah, and Mike, great for bringing this up right now, because every snow season before we get started, we have people move into the area and they don't know what the standards are. So they might live out in the country and they don't realize it. And, you know, as you said, we try to go over and above the standards whenever we can, but there's times when we get those bad storms that we can point to this. And would this be on our website?
Yes. Yeah. So
okay,
between the website as well as the social media platforms, if we get a routine going, we could even have it on the radio stations or different avenues that way. Yeah.
Well, I think that's great, because I know all the councillors get questions on this from time to time. Like, oh, they'll say, well, how come my road didn't get plowed as soon as I got another road was fine? And you know, having this at their fingertips is something you can actually refer them to. And if we keep talking about it, people will get to know that they have to make their plans around where they are in the community as far as how fast the roads are going to get done. I think it's a great idea.
Deputy Mayor Turton.
Thank you. So, I mean, when you're listening to the weather report, normally the weather alerts, this is kind of what they allude to, Mike.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So a freezing drizzle advisory on the left here. So then on the right, you look and you see exactly what that's supposed to be. What's it supposed to look like? So I agree. Can this be put on our website, or what was your answer to the mayor?
Yeah, no, it will be put on the website for sure. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else with a question? Okay, I will read the recommendation moved by Mayor Bridge and seconded by Councillor McKenzie that Council of the Town of Minto receive the report from the Roads and Drainage Manager regarding the updates to the winter maintenance policy and endorses the implementation of the significant weather event declaration policy as proposed. Last chance for questions. Okay, seeing none, I will ask the question. All in favor? And that carries. Okay, thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you.
And I'll turn the chair back to Mayor. who is on mute.
And me, I'm trying my best to be on mute when I'm not talking. Yeah, turn it over to Deputy Mayor Turton.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. Welcome, Treasurer Duff. We've got the minutes of settlement and assessment adjustment from our treasurer and our revenue coordinator, Tanya Robertson. So, Gord, please go ahead.
That's right. Thank you, Chair Turton. This is one I think I alluded to earlier in the year, that we have quite a number of assessment adjustments this year. If you kind of look at them, they're almost all related to a change in classification. And within that, many of them are properties that have either had a sale or some kind of change. They were formerly farmland or exempt land for maybe wetland or forest or that. And they have, as we say, flipped to the residential on the return rule, which is what we're obligated to base our tax base on. And then they get corrected during the year. And that's what these are. Some of them are quite material in amount because, as you know, when you go an equal amount of assessment going from residential to farm is basically 25%. And then sometimes there are changes within there. So anyway, the total is 83,000 and Minto's share is about 34,500. So one of the things we take into account, but these changes will be processed and we'll issue adjustments to the relevant property owners.
Questions for our treasurer? Okay, Gord, thank you. So this motion is moved by Councillor Dirksen and seconded by Councillor Gunson, that the council receives the November 2020 report from the treasurer and revenue coordinator regarding assessment adjustments and that these adjustments be approved. All in favor of that motion? Against? That's carried.
Great. Thank you.
Very much, Gord. I'll turn the chair back over to our mayor.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor Turton. And next up, I have I believe the clerk on what we're going to do next year. Annalee.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Bridge. So we're looking at the 2021 council meeting dates. This year in 2020, you have had 27 meetings, including budget meetings. It was a little bit more this year because we had budget 2 meetings in January for 2020, and then this year we're doing both meetings in 2020 for the 2021 budget. So it has expanded a little bit. It'll be a little bit different next year. We've scheduled 22 council meetings, 2 budget meetings, and 1 open house. At this time, I believe we'll be having our meetings virtually for the unknown future. Hopefully when we do get back together, it may have to be in an arena just so we can spread out a bit. But I have given you the regular meeting, and most conferences next year at this time are going to be virtual. Councillor Elliott did advise me that there is going to be an OSAM conference in April, so I will put that onto the schedule as well.
Councillor Elliott, do you know whether that's going to be virtual yet or not? Are they still hoping?
As far as we're concerned, it's going to be in Brant County and it's going to be open, we hope. As our last meeting, it was still being planned to be in person.
Okay. All right. Okay. Just wondered.
We're having a meeting next week, so maybe things will change there.
Yeah. Well, let's be hopeful. Yeah, for sure. Okay.
We'll be, yeah, our meetings are all in Zoom, but
yeah. No, I know that the ones earlier in the season have had to make that choice already because,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, we haven't had it yet, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Any questions? Judy?
Sorry, I'm not sure if this is the right place to ask this or not, but these virtual meetings, like when they flipped the AMO meeting or conference to a Zoom meeting or a virtual meeting, whatever platform they used, the price of the conference was still pretty significant. Are these, like I see Roma and OGRA now has decided it's virtual and they're planning for it that way. Are the costs much more reasonable than they were with the AMO? Or do we know that yet, or?
I'd have to look at the costs. I mean, I think when I sent it out for you for Roma, I think it was around the $400 mark. And I think that's probably a little less than what it was in previous times when you were meeting in person.
Yeah. And just on that, Judy, oh, and Belinda might want to talk about economic development because we just got that today, didn't we not?
Yeah, I sit on the EDCO, I'm chairing the EDCO conference, and I can probably give you a hint as to why the conferences are still so expensive. The virtual platforms are tens of thousands of dollars. So although there are savings to be had by having it virtually, the cost of these virtual platforms is ridiculous, and it's probably why the price is still quite high.
I see. Thank
But,
you.
and just on that, and Belinda, maybe you can talk about EDCO too, but I think with AMO, all their stuff was online. You could pick it up a month later. So some of it where you save a little bit of money, Councilor Dirksen, is that you don't have the hotel, you don't have all that to do, and the food and whatnot. And you can actually then go back on, if you happen to miss a session, you can go back on and actually get that keynote speaker. So it is still not too bad, even though it's a bit more. I would say that if you look at the programming, I would hope that some of the councillors would still go ahead and do it, because both Roma, Good Roads, Economic Development, they need to keep viable too going forward. And part of their budget every year is making money from these conferences, to be honest with you, because they do charge the virtual. It's kind of interesting when you go on the virtual trade show, because you actually can, if you got things you want to look up, they're there, and you know how you walk by booths and stuff like that. So they do get some sponsorship still because of that. So I would hope that everybody would look at them and still maybe take the time. And you know, the other thing is, if you're working, you're not taking time off your work as well. So that's another advantage you've got, the fact that you maybe go on and you could do a couple sessions each day or whatever. So try to look into them as they send them out, and I still think they're great learning experiences. And unfortunately, they have to make enough money, as Belinda said, to pay for all the virtual stuff they got to do too. So
As they come in, I will continue to send them out to councillors. And again, if you wish for me to sign you up, just let me know and we'll get that done.
Okay.
okay, I've got something here on that, I believe. Here it is here. Moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Councillor Elliott. The Council of the Town of Minto receives a 2021 council meeting dates report from the clerk and approves the 2021 council dates as set out in the report. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay. All right. I think our next up is I'm going to get Derek to introduce our good friend from Texas. Are you still in Texas, Bill?
I am, Mayor Bridge.
There you go. And so Derek can maybe introduce Bill and what he's coming to talk to us about today.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. So back in March of this year, the county engaged and entered into what we call a comprehensive review. That comprehensive review process is ultimately going to lead to a new official plan. So myself and Mr. White are both on the technical team of the county comprehensive review, and Watson Associates is also the consultant on that committee. We've met a few times, and I think the county is getting fairly close to looking at their forecasts and making some recommendations. And just before that happens, we thought it would be a good idea for us to go back through what council would remember to give you a baseline of information, so that the next time that we come before you and we can give you what the updated forecasts will be, you can have a baseline of the difference between the two. So it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. White. You know him well. Bill and I have been sort of working hand in hand on this project. So I'm going to turn it over to Bill to sort of give you a rundown of the report, and then hopefully we can answer any questions you might have after that. So.
Thank you very much, Derek. And I listened to the whole council meeting so far tonight, so it brought back lots of memories. And obviously, Minto continues to move forward with great leadership from council and the CAO and all the staff who seem to be taking on new roles. And it's wonderful to see. Back in September, the county initiated this September of 2019, they started their comprehensive review process and came to Minto Council November 5th. If you follow that link in the report, you can look at that presentation if you really wanted to get back down into the detail. So this is a combined 5-year review and a comprehensive review, as the CAO mentioned, and it will lead to a new or amended official plan. And that official plan will meet the new provincial policy statement that was amended in 2020 and the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, which was approved and amended version in 2019. And the official plan has the land use maps and goals and objectives for the whole county, but it also covers how Minto will be planned for in the future. And any action that you take must be in compliance with the municipal official plan, as with the county council as well. There's a little bit of information on the difference between a comprehensive review and a 5-year review. I won't, unless you really are interested in that, I won't go into the detail. As the CAO said, we're really just leading to a new official plan that will guide growth for Minto and the county into actually 2051 now. In 2020, the Wellington staff updated their planning committee. You can look at that report too through the links there. That is how they're going to go through this process. It's an engagement profile, I guess, for lack of a better word. And that is what formed this technical review committee that the CAO is part of, and I assist him when he needs me to help him on it. So one of the parts of the process that was done was an internal questionnaire the county sent to staff people, and it was quite detailed and long about the planning issues that are being faced by the town of Minto right now. And so there's 5 bullet points. And that was just to sort of help them start the process and get an idea on where Minto may be heading or want to head with the new official plan. The county updated its committee again in June, and you can look at that report if you're interested. That's when they received those questionnaires all the local municipalities filled out. And then, as the CAO mentioned last October, just to sort of talk about the baseline that Derek mentioned. When I presented the Palmerston Boundary Adjustment report to you in October, you might not have caught it, but I mentioned that the growth forecasts now have to go to 2051. That's an extra 10 years, and that I mentioned there was about probably 500 more units at least that Minto will have to plan for. That was based on some population work that I had done. I had used the county's old population forecasts, and I projected that out into 2051. And so what they've done now with Watson advising them is do a much more detailed and comprehensive population forecast and a employment forecast, so where the jobs are going to be and where the people are going to be. And so they've presented that in draft form. They have to do that because provincial policy says they have to do that. And so right now in the provincial policy, the county has a specific population set in there that they have to meet. And so basically what they're doing is going through a process with the local municipalities of how that population will be allocated. Some of you who were on council before will remember some talk about the hierarchy of settlement areas. whereby the county will have to decide where growth will go and where growth would be focused. And we talked about how municipalities may have to sort of compete for that growth. And so that's kind of what this process is the start of right now. And the reason that the county population statistics are not here is they want to go through them and with the local municipality staff and the technical committee so that everybody has a good idea, understands them, and that they make sense at a staff level. And then as soon as possible, it's important, I think, that those stats come to you so you can see what's happening and where. But suffice it to say, based on the preliminary work that I had done, I think that Minto will need to plan for even more growth than has already been done in expanding the Palmerston boundary and also the work that's been done in Clifford. So I think things are really continuing to look up for Minto, and that's going to be a long-term thing. And, you know, we're talking about 30 years from now. Things look like they should continue as best we can have a crystal ball on these sorts of things. And just looking at the Economic Development Committee minutes that were presented today, it seems like that the growth has not gone away despite the challenges being faced. I think that's really all I have to say, Derek, unless there's something you feel I missed or should expand on. The recommendation is just that the report be received and that the growth forecasts, when available, come back as soon as possible.
Thank you very much, Bill. Yeah, and I concur. Bill did a great job of explaining it. And if council has any questions, we're happy to answer them for you.
Yeah, I'll move the motion and then everybody have a chance to think a little bit. And then they moved by Councillor McKenzie, seconded by Deputy Mayor Turton, that the Council of Town of Minto receives the November 3rd, 2020 update from the CEO and Trade Engineering regarding the status of municipal comprehensive review of the county official plan, and that the population and employment forecast to 2051 be brought back to Minto Council for review when available. Okay, questions now. Have anybody thought of a question they wanted to ask? Or Deputy Mayor Turton?
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. Thank you, past CAO White, and thank you, President CAO Thompson. That is a really interesting report. I mean, it's really interesting to me how we can predict, 30 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be interesting to know how they predicted 30 years ago how it is today. How accurate were they? Are those stats out there, Bill?
If I may, through you, Mayor Bridge, I think they are out there as far as the population projections. So how accurate were they? Oh, I don't know. Pretty close. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. The county, I don't want to talk too much about the stats that they have at this so far, but I think what you'll see is the county being able to take on and asked to take on more growth than it had in the future. And that's because, a lot of the GTA is being built up over time. And so growth is moving out to areas where it can be, by provincial policy, where it can be accommodated. So it all links into service capability and so forth. So while the projections years ago weren't necessarily bang on accurate, I think they got the general trend. And I think Watson and Associates can bring a very significant sophistication to it, given what they know about the municipalities, because they work in pretty much all of them in Wellington. So I think what I've seen, they've done a pretty good job, but that doesn't mean that Minto shouldn't keep a really good eye on them and make sure, because I said it is a hierarchy and there will be decisions that will be made about where growth goes, and Minto will want
to make to do with how aggressive councils are and how they want growth in their community. I mean, when there's a developer comes along and says, I want to develop this piece of property, they can be shut down reasonably easy. But if the council of the day is, is aggressive, they want growth like we do, it makes it much easier. Thank you.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor Turton. Anybody else? I just one comment, and Bill, you explained that whole thing 30 years. It's interesting, even the amount of time I've been on council, and where you had different sets of governments at different areas, especially provincial governments, that decided they want places to grow, and they decided where the growth was going to go. That's opened up again now. But at the end of the day, I think people will decide where they want to go. And if councils wanted to provide the services, and I have to give some previous councils a lot of credit for their foresight in actually providing the sewer systems that we use now, that we're able to upgrade and get going. I see towns around us that didn't do that, and they suffered their growth from it. So this council and the previous councils have been good about trying to look ahead. And I think you're right, Deputy Mayor Turton, that it's up to us to say as best we can what 10 or 15 years from now. We won't be sitting here probably in these chairs, but somebody's going to take the benefit that we got the benefit for. Good examples, industrial park in Palmerston and Harrison, that without somebody thinking about that a way long time ago in the 80s, we wouldn't be here today able to take advantage of that growth. So that's it's a good thing, and it's hard to really project, but I think we're doing a pretty good job of trying to figure it out, and through the county, and thanking Bill with his planning background is able to do this for us. I know he doesn't want to become a planner. He's a planner now, though. He can't deny it. But anyways, thanks for that report. Okay, did I already give you the, I did the first and second on that. So all in favor of the report to receive it? Opposed? Thank you, Bill. Say hello to everybody down in Texas there.
I will, and thank you, everyone. It's nice seeing you all again.
Yeah, stay safe.
We will. We are.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Bye. Other businesses are closed. Has anybody thought of anything? I just have one that I'm going to bring up, but has anybody got anything? Jeff.
Just to remind everybody that Santa's driving through Harrison.
Oh, yes.
Saturday, starting at 6 o'clock. Clifford next Saturday, and then Palmerston the following Saturday.
Great.
It's not a parade, it's a drive-through.
Yeah, good luck on that. And what a good idea, Jeff, that you come up with that. I think that's a great idea. Anybody else? I just want to say that it's been a little bit concerning over the last little while. As you know, you saw it from the economic development meeting 2 weeks ago. We're like at 2 cases in Wellington County, and then before that 0 for a while, and all of a sudden we've got quite a spike. Just shows you what this virus can do. So I know we went back to virtual councils before the spike, kind of, because we knew something was happening. There was some concern there with the province moving up, but we did institute our we're going to have it on Mondays, I believe, every Monday now. And we did our first one on Facebook Live again, just to let people know about what's going on as best we can. And so we'll be doing that, and we'll probably bring a staff member in from time to time. I think one of the things we talked about after this last one, I think Jess is going to talk about mental health, because I think that's a big thing that's out there right now with COVID as well, and with all the extra pressures with having some cases in the area. So we're going to try to do that every Monday. So I think, I don't know what the totals were, if Belinda's on still, or do you know what the totals are? Annalene, what, there are 300 or 400 people actually. I think Taylor said 300 people or something like that.
We've had over 1,249 views of the video and 684 engagements. So that's people liking or sharing or interacting in some way with the post, commenting.
Yeah, so we'll keep that going, and so if you get a chance, you'll be able to see it on Mondays live, and then it's redone over a period of time. So if you think of anything you want us to say in those, Derek and I'll be doing them with some staff members as we sprinkle them in. Let me know if there's anything you want to talk about or want me to talk about to make sure I get it out there. But it seems to be working. Councillor Dirksen and then Councillor McKenzie.
Thank you. I just had a question for Councillor Johnson about the Santa Claus drive-by. Almost said parade.
Yeah.
has there been any consideration for kids from the country, from the township area where they can be, or do they just find a place on Main Street and spread out?
So good question. I'm not in charge of the parade, but I will have them maybe post that on social media so there'll be a place that they can follow the route along. If that makes sense.
Yeah, thanks. I was asked that the other day and I kind of forgot about it till you mentioned the drive-by.
Okay, I'll forward that on.
Good question, Councilor Dirksen. Councilor McKenzie.
Thanks. My question is, Mr. Mayor, when will the county report to us the number of cases in our area in Wellington North? This last week, it's more than they've ever had. So
Well,
when we get an official report on that.
So what happened, and it's not the county, it's the public health that has that report, Councilor McKenzie. But so we're going to be sending a letter from the council asking for that that breakdown. They don't break it down in Wellington like they do in some of the other counties. I think in our Economic Development Committee meeting, there was a request and we passed that tonight. So we'll be getting a letter out from the council asking if there's a possibility that we can get that broken down. But that won't be, that's not a political thing. That's the public health unit. That's their decision. So but we will send that letter off and asking for that request. And I know a way back when I asked that question to Dr. Mercer, some of it was because there's some concern when you don't have any cases. So if Wellington County only had 2 cases, there's concern sometimes about people being too lax because they think, well, there's nothing happening. But obviously, this is a question I got asked at this last call when we did our live, and it was a question that came in, and it's a question I get all the time. So we will send that up from the council, and I'll report back when I have any information on that, if that's all right.
Because you were reporting earlier the cases in the county at council.
Well,
it comes from the health department.
Yeah, and they never ever broke it down to me as to who, but you know, in a small town, you kind of figured out. And with the Old Order Mennonite outbreak with the Old Order Mennonites, we know we've got quite a few up here now, probably in the 30s. So just to say that, okay.
Something's coming forward then, thanks.
Well, we're going to send a note off. I mean, it'll be up to, I'll find out what the reaction is from public health on it, okay?
Yeah, thanks.
Jean, did you have a question? And then Ron. Sorry, Jean, your mic.
Beg your pardon. It was just a response to Councillor McKenzie. I know the hospital, so I think it's Allison Armstrong, is putting out a report. They do a communication every day on the numbers that have been tested at the testing centers.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that as of Sunday, there were some 10 to 13 positive cases found at Minto testing center or Harrison testing center, but nothing to tell you where they came from.
No, that's right. Because they
and the numbers were way up at the Legacy, the old Groves Hospital. I think they had 30 cases.
Yeah.
That they found, which had jumped quite a bit from 5 reported. And I don't know that they keep the old numbers in there because I think if you added them all up, there'd be quite a few more. So I don't know. Does the board get that? Judy, do you get that report?
No.
Okay. So they put it, they post it on the website at the hospital every day. They give an update, but it's from the hospital gets the information, but it appears to come from public health. They're just posting it for staff.
Well, the testing centers are run by the hospital, not by
yes, they
health.
are. They are. But
okay, so that's what. But yeah,
because it gives a county total as well. Like it's not just hospital numbers. So I'm not sure where they're getting it from.
Yeah. Okay. Councillor Elliott.
Yeah, I agree with you that we should know. I just don't understand how they can keep it private. It should be our right, and right as a council and right as people that live in our community to know whether it's right in our community where we can. Yeah, I don't know how they can just arbitrarily say we're not going to tell you that. We're just going to say Wellington County. I mean, I certainly would like to know if it's in Norwell or it's in Clifford or
well,
where.
Yeah, and I think yeah, okay, yeah. I don't tend to not agree with you, Councillor Elliott. I'm just saying it's something we have to. We'll send our concerns in. The other thing is, if our tracing is working, if somebody is in contact with you, and I've downloaded, I hope everybody's downloaded the app on their phone. I've got the app on my phone. But like if somebody is close to you or have been in contact with you and the tracer comes and talks to that person, they will come and talk to you. So somewhat, if you don't hear anything, I mean, it's not like they're just saying, we're not going to tell you where the cases are. If you're in contact with anybody that hopefully they've been traced back, hopefully you'll get that. But again, Judy, it's something we don't control. And so I'm just saying we're going to do the best possible by saying we'd like to know a bit more about it. I'm not sure it makes any difference in the long run, because if you're tested positive, you have to tell everybody that you were close to, and they will get a hold of those people. Like that's what the tracing is all about. But anyways,
I'm under the assumption, George, and I get this from everybody too, is it doesn't happen to us. It's not here. Yeah, that Minto thing, while we're all Mennonites, it was nothing to do with the general population, and we're all okay.
Yeah, I know.
That may not be necessarily true, and that's why it's important for us to understand so people can start being a little more cautious about things.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, it's a silent one, because you can have no symptoms and somebody could just drive up from the city and drop into one of your places, or drop in from one of the hot spots, and you don't know who they are. And they meet somebody that's a friend of yours, and your friend comes over and says something, talks to you, and we don't have our masks on or whatever. So I think it's just a matter. I'll find out from Dr. Mercer after she gets the letter, and I'm sure she's going to get it from a few other people. But Councillor Dirksen. And then.
Yeah, my comment was going to be, we just all need to assume that COVID is active in our community, because I don't think that's an untruth, and we all need to be as careful as we possibly can be.
Yes, and I think you're right on there, Councillor Dirksen. And that's what public health said. Don't, just because you haven't seen any cases doesn't mean it isn't here. And that's what they're saying. So anyways, Councillor Anderson, do you have one more comment? Or?
Just to reiterate that, it really doesn't matter where they're tested. We know it's active. The numbers are climbing. It's clear we're set for a larger second wave than the initial wave was. People need to be cautious, and we've all gotten a little relaxed because we do assume that it's always down in the larger centers, and certainly the problem is larger there, but we cannot be too careful, and people need to be isolating again. I'm thinking Christmas is going to be a very different affair this year by the time we have 4 more weeks of growth with this germ. Just assume that it's here. And that's what we're telling all our patients. That's what we're being directed to tell all the patients, especially our population dialysis. They are endangered anyway, just by the nature of the disease process. And we're telling them all, keep up the precautions, wash your hands, wear your mask.
Yeah.
And just assume it's out there, because it is.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay, thank you. Okay. And you notice the motion. Okay. Bylaws. Moved by Councillor Gunson, second by Councillor Dirksen. Bylaw number 2020-78 to exempt part lot control. We got Deputy Mayor Turton's off. Sorry, I should have waited. I'll start over. The bylaw number 2020-78 to exempt part lot control for lands being Lot 21 SS on George Street North, Plan 61R 2125-5 in the former town of Harrison, town of Minto, under Section 57.1 of the Planning Act, RSO 1990, as amended, be introduced and read first, second, and third time, and passed in open council, seal of the corporation. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Deputy Mayor Turton, there he's back. Moved by Councillor Elliott, second by Councillor Anderson, the bylaw number 2020-79 to confirm the actions of the council of the corporation of town of Minto be introduced, read first, second, and third time, and passed in open council and seal of the corporation. All in favor? Opposed? None. Okay. Moved by Deputy Mayor Turton, second by Councillor McKenzie, the council of the town of Minto adjourns to meet again at the call of the mayor. All in favor?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks for a good meeting, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Stay safe.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Bye.